Hi everyone! Wet the paper and let's start the sky upside down. Tape some watercolor paper to a board and tilt it up on an easel, or prop it up with a towel on a table. This lets the paint flow down, creating a nice gradient in the sky. I'm using these three colors of gouache and black, watered down just like watercolor. And any 140-pound watercolor paper will do. This layer is a distant mountaintop. If you do this layer while the sky is slightly damp, it'll have a less hard edge and look more distant. But if you're nervous about it bleeding into the sky, you can let the last layer dry first. And with a damp brush, blend out the mountain base for a foggy effect. Remember, this is still upside down. You can use a dried gouache palette. Just place drops of water and let it sit for a few minutes. Mix up the colors you want, thinned like watercolor but thicker and more opaque as we work into the foreground. Or you can also use watercolor for the light background layers, then add gouache in the foreground when you want it to be more opaque. When that layer is dry, do another mountain layer. Each new layer can be slightly darker and more opaque than the last. If you let the previous layer fully dry, you'll get crispy mountain peaks. Each new layer can be slightly darker and more opaque than the last. And if you get it right, you won't see any lines from other layers. Upside down again, wet this area to do some distant conifer tree spires peeking out of the mist. Finally, we can stay right side up and start on darker foreground trees. Now give it some life with birds soaring up from a valley. Start with dots and then add a few wing V's at different angles and sizes.